Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the afternoon rabble here on the Rangers Rabble Podcast. Loads, actually, loads to talk about. We did go through some of it on the members' morning phone in at 10 o'clock this morning, but there's some weird and wonderful rumours kicking about out there about, I don't know, a certain ex-Danish midfielder. Um, some stuff happening in Birmingham that might tell us more about Rangers. A former player who might be on the move for 9 million. And of course, our very own Nico Raskin and Rangers' valuation of him. So we'll get into all that and more. Joining me today is Bryan. Bryan, as you can tell by my throat, it's not going great, but how are you?
No, you're struggling, aren't you? You're struggling as much as my computer is. I think we should swap your voice and my computer. So yeah, all good apart from that. And then I got the news that not long ago I'm on night shift tonight, so I've got to look forward to that tonight.
Well, that's what happens when you've got a normal job, Bryan.
Yeah, I know. Tragic, but it's the world we live in. Roll the sleeves up, get stuck in.
Yes, well, let's roll the sleeves up and get stuck into some Rangers news then, Bryan, shall we? Let's start with the title of the show. Well, not the title, the thumbnail of the show, I should say. And that is that according to reports, Rangers have put a price tag of 25 million on Nico Raskin. I love it, Bryan. I think it's about time, even if we don't feel that they're worth it. For far too long, we've been undervaluing our players.
Absolutely. It's about time that we started to value players a bit more than what folk think they should be worth. Celtic sold that Ayer for 13 million with a year to go in his deal. Now, how on earth we have, we've had some ridiculously, we've had some really good players over the years, and we've been punting them for pretty much bargain basement prices. We've not tried to maximize any transfer that we've done. Can't remember the last one we've probably the last one you argue we maximized was Nathan Patterson. That's probably the last one you could argue that we maximized. The rest of them have been, for me, very undervalued in their prices, and it's about time that I think this is just a sign of things to come now. These new guys are going to come in and not lowball any of, they'll try and lowball our players, but this board won't take those prices. They just won't accept them. So it's nice to see that this new board and the new owners are going to maximize, as I say, these guys if they want to go. Raskin's got 2 years left in his deal, so this is his peak sort of value now. It's either
it's the last time, Bryan. It's the last time that we'll get anything big for him if he doesn't sign a new contract.
Correct. That's what I was just a way to say. If he either goes this summer and we thank him, or he signs a new long-term deal. We cannot get into another situation where we're signing players and letting them go at the end of their contracts. We just cannot. That is unsustainable. It's just not the way a business works. So it's a case of he either signs a new deal or he is sold this summer. And that's a horrible thing to say because everybody likes Raskin, but we've got to look after number one. We've got to look after the club, and we've got to get the money that we deserve for each player. And the club will always be here, but players will come and go. It's just a simple fact.
Aye, and look, people. There's a few people in the comments, saying, "Oh, there'll no be anything over 10 million or 15 millions, as much as what we are going to get for him." I like the fact that Rangers have come out and went. Well, I should say, apparently, I don't want, because Rangers will obviously never come out and say yeah or nay on valuations of players, but it has been reported, and I've wrote down every other place I've got my information from, and I forgot to write down where I seen when I got the Raskin information from, but I did see it. So even if it isn't true, Bryan, I would like to think that these new owners coming in are saying to themselves, we want to maximise every form of profit that we have at this football club and bring as much money in as possible. If they want to value Nico Raskin at 25 million, I have no issue with that. He finished from middle to end of season. I thought he was excellent. He's went away with Belgium, and he's been excellent every time he's put a Belgium shirt on, getting all sorts of plaudits. If he was playing for Brighton in the Premier League, where he kind of performances, Bryan, and then going and playing for Belgium, be a lot more than 25 million. And as Paul McCorricle's saying, Leeds and Aston Villa are chasing him. So yeah, you maximise whatever profit you can.
Absolutely. As you say, he's been getting plaudits for playing for Belgium. He's not in shabby company in that squad. There's a lot of really good players in the Belgium squad. Maybe not as good as it has been, but Belgium are still a fantastic nation as far as the quality of players they've got. So, as you say, if you picked up Raskin now and dumped him in, I don't know, as you say, Brentford or Brighton or the teams that are hovering around the European sort of aspirations, all of a sudden you are, well, those sort of teams are going to command upwards of 30, 40 million for him, just as a straight off, no questions asked. So I'm not expecting that sort of numbers because that's frankly ridiculous. But we should, I'm glad we're actually starting high. If you start high and you come down a little bit, that's not too bad. If we ask for 25 and it ends up 20, I would say that's a fantastic bit of business. Getting him for free, signing it, selling him for 20 million, that's exactly the type of business model, the sort of transfer sort of business that the club are wanting, and we should have been doing a long time ago. As I say, I've always rued the one that we didn't sell, which was Morelos. We signed him for $1 million, didn't sell him for 16. That sort of nonsense has got to stop. We've got to sell guys.
It will now, Bryan. We've got owners now who have got no emotional attachment yet to the football club. They're not fans, they're not supporters, they're businessmen. Yes. And they'll make business decisions, which is what we've needed for a long time.
Yes.
I did see somewhere as well, I can't remember what it is, and again, I've no idea if it's true, but I did see that Raskin's got a 20% sell-on fee. So whatever we sell him for, he gets 20% basically. Again, fair play to the player. He's obviously more financially astute than our previous board, Bryan.
Yeah, this just sums it up, doesn't it? That just sums up the former board, I'm afraid. But as you say, thankfully, all that nonsense is going to stop now. We're going to function as a proper football club now. We're going to have the as you say, the non-emotional ties to the club as far as the board. They're not going to listen to the fans when we start stomping their feet and not being happy. They're going to make decisions based on what they believe is correct. Because obviously the board previous reacted to the fans when they wanted Clement to go. And let's be honest, we've got to look at this. We've got to take a look at ourselves as well. We've not exactly been great at picking managers, previous managers. We've wanted all these managers that have come in, and they haven't turned out great, have they? Soonest wanted Lampard and we laughed at that. Well, maybe that wasn't such a bad pick, but we've maybe got to just take a step back and let these guys do what they do best and pick the best guys for the job. So, because all the managers that have been previous is the ones I've wanted, and look how that's turned out. So it's a case of let these guys do their stuff. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, can I just state though, right? And multiple man's absolutely spot on here. It's great to have clout in negotiations again. We don't have to sell if we don't meet our figure. That's massive. That's absolutely massive. But just finishing up on, excuse me, Raskin. I want him in the team, Bryan. I want him at Rangers this season because I want us to be successful. For me, that's the main thing for me, to be honest. It'll be great. It'll be great to get 15, 20, 25 million. You can reinvest that and bring in new players, and if the scouting department's working well, we can bring in player A, B, and C, and they improve the team. I want Raskin. I like him, and he knows the club. He knows what he's doing, and he can help us win things.
Yes, and I think he vastly improved when Barry came in, didn't he? I don't think anybody can argue that. When Barry came in and was the interim manager, you could see the difference in Raskin's performances. He suddenly went to a level, above a lot. Well, I don't think that was very difficult last season, but he was head and shoulders above a lot of the players last season. He was the driving force in the midfield. He was scoring. He was even assisting. So yeah, I don't think any of us want him to, would, if we could, ideally let him leave. But at the same time, we've got to emotionally detach ourselves as well, and see that we need, if an offer comes in that is frankly outrageously high, like as you say, 20-25 million, we cannot turn that down. We can't afford to turn that down, because we could invest that so much in going forward. But as you say, we would rather keep Raskin, but if a big offer comes in, then I'm afraid the board's hands are going to be tied, and they won't think twice of selling him.
Listen, most clubs in world football are like that now. That's the way football is. Unless you're a Real Madrid, or I think Barcelona are probably still a selling team as well now because of their finances. And you look at all the clubs in England, it just seems to be now. It's not about winning trophies anymore. It's not about doing well in Europe. It's about getting the best young players in so you can sell them for good money. That's what football seems to be now, and that's what, as supporters, and we're just as guilty of it. That's what we spend most of our time talking about. Sell on clauses. How much you going to get for this player, that player? Oh, that player's coming in, but is he going to get? Is he going to have the ability to make his money? And it's just drastically changed, Brian.
It really has. I mean, you could argue that EPL was probably the start of all this, wasn't it, when it first was created in the early '90s? Some of the fees that were. I mean, whoever thought that Shearer would be the most expensive striker in the world at one point? He went to Newcastle for 15 million. So it's.
Do you remember Zidane? I think he went to Juventus or something for something like 28 million. Right? It was something like that, and everybody went, I can't believe Juventus have paid nearly 30 million, or it may have been just over 30. I can't remember. For spent that kind of money. That was Zidane.
Yeah, arguably one of the greatest players that's ever played the game and won everything pretty much. So it's mental how it's all changed. It's frankly unbelievable. And of course, TV companies have helped all that, haven't they? Sky's obliterated everybody in world football as far as the TV deal in England. 2 point something billion. The clubs are, you're getting over 100 million for getting relegated. That's just ridiculous. So yeah, it's a new world, and it's a difficult world to operate in now, because we are, when you look at the big picture, we're plankton compared to everybody else. The PSGs and the Man Cities are the great white sharks, and we're the tiny plankton. So we're operating in a completely different market, and it's difficult, but it's doable. It is doable. You can find gems for not a lot of money. It's just about having the right recruitment.
Yeah. And I think one of the most frustrating things about that is that Man City can barely sell out 3/4 of their stadium. Even for big European games. They just can't sell out their stadium. Yet we could probably sell out the Etihad 3 or 4 times over for a massive game. So yeah. Okay. Moving on, Brian. What's your favourite media organisation? Let me tell you what mine's is. The BBC, right? Absolutely love the BBC. I hate the BBC.
That's a way to say.
So they're obviously scrambling for some headlines, and they threw out their fishing rod, they threw out their line, looking for a hook, and they hooked me, Brian. Right, I clicked right on that link. Right, I was straight in there for one of the most ridiculous transfer rumors. And if this comes true, by the way, I'm going to look like such an idiot. But by God, is it ridiculous? So the BBC said that Rangers are interested in bringing ex-Tottenham, ex-Manchester United, and current Denmark international Christian Eriksen to Ibrox. Right. Now, I don't know, Brian, how much Christian Eriksen was on at Manchester United, right? But I can guarantee you he ain't going to his next club for 35 grand a week, and he ain't playing in the SPL.
You are 100% correct, Martin. He was
Yeah,
on.
well, thanks very much.
He was on at least 6 figures a week at Manchester United. So there is zero, and I mean zero, chance of him moving to Scotland. Absolutely zero. No. When I seen this, I thought, wow, this is taking, silly rumours to a new level, isn't it? I mean, there's no.
Here, it worked, man. I clicked on that link faster than I've
Oh,
clicked on any link in my life.
I mean, come on, Martin. You should know better. That's like you clicking on Mark's links in the chat.
Oh, in
isn't
the
it?
WhatsApp.
You should know better. You should know better.
Yeah, I should.
A link like Ericsson getting linked to Rangers. You should just look at it, shake your head, and move on. Don't even click on it. It's not worth it. Absolute pipe dream. No chance.
Is he? This might sound like a really stupid question, and I might get laughed at for this, right? Is he good enough? No.
Oh yeah, for Scotland, he certainly would be.
Would he suit the Scottish game with the physicality suit him with the low blocks suit him? He's more a kind of, for all you FM players out there, he's more a kind of defensive mid deep line playmaker now, more than what he is getting forward. Would he suit the Scottish game? Would he do well at Rangers?
I mean, you've got to remember who he'd be up against, wouldn't you? There's a lot of hammer throwers and people that would see him and just try and, go for him straight away. So
would he win the battle against Gogic? That is the question.
No, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. No, no. I think Ericsson would be far too. I mean, he's a great player. There's no doubt in that, but I'm just not sure he would. No, I don't. I think the hammer throwers would get the better of him eventually. Unfortunately, I think even his quality, they would still find a way of, being the hatchet men and getting to him. So no, he's a good player, but I'm afraid, as you just said, his wages are far, far too high, and I wouldn't be surprised he actually goes back to Denmark. I really wouldn't go back to where his first club or whatever like that. I wouldn't be surprised if that's
Saudi,
something avenue.
Saudi,
maybe. There's always the chance of folk going there, isn't there? I mean, some of the wages you can get out there is astronomical. So Saudi or Denmark, I would predict that you'll go to. I'm just thinking out loud, and where who he is, and I mean, you've got to remember he came back from a near-death situation with Denmark. His heart problem. So he's actually, when you think about it, he's actually playing football when a lot of people wouldn't be able to. He's doing something that a lot of people have not, like Moemba. He had to retire. He was only 23. So, he's every game, I think, or every minute he's played after that incident has been a gift to him. So, yeah, I don't see him certainly coming to Scotland. I would say, as you say, it's either Saudi or Denmark for me.
I'll tell you right now, see that Saudi net that they're casting? They're casting it far and they're casting it wide. And there's a few young players in Scotland who could be making that trip out to Saudi pretty soon. For substantially more wages than cow and beef pay, that's for sure. I know that would probably shock a lot of people, as obviously cow and beef have a phenomenal stadium and all that sort of stuff. I've got to say, whilst we're talking about the ridiculous, Bryan, we cannot not mention the link to, I think he's still a Tottenham player. I don't think he's former Tottenham yet, right? And by the kind of squint in your face, I don't think you've heard this, but
no, I know where you're going with this.
You know where I'm going with this? Yes.
Yeah.
South Korean legend Hyun Min Song, Bryan, I called him Son, has been linked with a mental move to Rangers because, of course, we can afford 80 to 100 grand a week, Bryan.
And the rest. He's on far more than that. I mean, this is just nuts, isn't it? It really is. I mean, surely when you see a player linked or Rangers are linked with him, you look at who he is and who he's playing for, and you can immediately decide then if it's even a half chance. I mean, Ericsson and Son, for example, they're on, as Lyndon's saying, about 150k a week. So that automatically rules him out. He'll be going to Saudi, I guarantee you, Son, or, I don't think he'll play for somebody else in the in the Premier League. I think he'll maybe go to Spain. I don't know if Barcelona are still looking for players. You know what they're like; they'll sign anybody, especially if he's on a free transfer. But yeah, this is. I mean, that last two names you've mentioned, Son and Eriksen. I mean, collectively they're on about 300 grand a week. So I mean, it's shake the head stuff and move on. I'm afraid.
I mean, yeah, we've got money now, right? But we don't quite. could
Not
you
that much.
imagine them? Could you imagine them getting into trading and tabs like that? Oh, son, how was your weekend? I took a wee private jet out here and there. No, right? Yeah, I had to get a taxi. 'Cause I'm only on 35 grand a week. Else you're on your 100. Yeah.
I mean, who seriously thinks that Heung-min Son is going to appear at Ibrox anytime? I mean, that's just frankly ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Well, not unless he signs for somebody and we get him in the Champions League or the Europa League, then he might appear again at Ibrox.
Well, maybe, but not in the blue shirt of Rangers. That's for sure.
No, I know there's Stuart saying get Vitinha for PSG as well. Why not? Why not? Well, we're at it. Why don't we just give Real Madrid a phone? Because Mbappe's not really fitted in that well there, has he? We'll just get Mbappe in as well. Absolutely mental. Folks, if I could just ask a massive favour, if you are watching on the old YouTube and you enjoy what you're watching, if you could give the show a like, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. We are also, the last time I checked, 202 subscribers away for 14,000. So if you haven't already and you enjoy the content, or see, even if you don't like me, right, which I completely understand and I completely get it, I don't like me either, right? But you like Bryan, or you like Ian, or you like Connor, or anybody else, then hit the subscribe button. Just do it for them. Don't do it for me. Do it for them. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a follow as well. We're nearly up to 4,000 Facebook followers as well, which is absolutely crazy. So give us a follow there and give us a like and a retweet on Twitter. That's what I'm talking about, Lyndon. I've liked this pod for Bryan. Exactly. Like it for Bryan. Don't like it for me. I'm an idiot. Like it for Bryan. He's the man.
Always knew I liked London. Always knew I liked him.
I've never liked him. Never liked him.
I know. I heard your dread when he got gifted a sub the other day. Your the voice, you could hear the pain in your voice when you get you get gifted it. You're like, oh no.
It actually, Root, my missus came home from work and she went, "What's wrong with you?" And I just went, "London," and she went, right. She knew exactly. She knew exactly what was wrong with me. Right. Okay. Birmingham Live have come out, Bryan, and said that Birmingham would love to get Ben Davies back in, if possible, but they are eyeing up other options because it is a possibility that Russell Martin might look at Ben Davies as an option going into next season. Now, before people jump down my throats here, right, I'm not saying this. Birmingham Live saying this, right? But Bryan, the question I've got for you, and again, I brought this up on the morning phone-in, is, look, we need a lot of surgery on this squad, right? And it's not going to happen in one transfer window. We're going to have players in the team next season who may necessarily not be good enough to take us forward, but might be good enough to help the new players coming in bed into the team and help us challenge next season, right? So we have to be careful about who we get rid of right away. It's like if you play Football Manager and you take over a team, you want to bring in your own players. You don't bring in 11 or 12 players at once, right? You bed them in slowly, finances, etc., etc. Is Ben Davis, to an elongated way to get to my question, is Ben Davis a player, Bryan, who you could see being involved with Rangers next season? Not necessarily because he's 100% wanted, right? But that he could make a contribution good enough until we can afford to replace him.
This is a difficult one, isn't it? This is a difficult one because I think Ben Davies is on a fair shed of cash. He's on a mid-20s sort of wage, so it's a difficult one. I think he's obviously been sort of, he was very ridiculed when he was at us, wasn't he? He made a few mistakes. He's went to Birmingham. He's had a good season there. I think it would be poor on Russell Martin's sort of angle if he didn't even look at him in training and see what he's dealing with. Because, he might get a tune out of him. I don't know. But I think it would be poor of Russell Martin if he didn't even get the whole squad he's available, just to see if there's anything there that he can work with or he thinks that he can improve. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back and at least does a few sort of pre-seasons and has a look at him and stuff. But again, it depends the sort of money that Birmingham are willing to pay out as well, isn't it? I mean, if they come out and say, well, we'll have him for 3 or 4 million, you're kind of then going, well, that's not a bad deal, so we might take that. So it's all dependent if Birmingham City even put in a bid, and 2, if Russell Martin even remotely fancies him. So, because if he fancies him and thinks, right, I can get something out of this guy going forward, then, that'll save us a few bob. So, and, it's all down to Russell Martin, I think. And all depends on what he sees in training, and if he likes what he sees. Let's be honest, he's got to assess the whole squad as a whole, hasn't he?
Well, Ben Davies strikes me as a kind of Russell Martin type player. Good with the ball at his feet. Quite an intelligent football player. Not the most aggressive, not the strongest centre-back. As Jimbo's saying there, when it comes to set pieces, he's not the greatest. He's not the greatest with that. We've seen that. But he does strike me as somebody who Russell Martin might look at and go, do you know what? As multiple man saying, he has the ability to take a comfortable 7 out of 10 performance, but in one moment make it a calamitous 2 out of 10. That's just the issue that you're going to have with a player like Ben Davies. But my point was more so, I know that we need to sort the defence. I know that a strong defence, wins your league titles. I understand that. But just for the way Martin wants to play and the players that he's going to look to bring in, we've been linked with so many strikers. Maybe, just maybe, and we don't know, and I'm just guessing, but maybe, just maybe, the defence isn't the priority right now.
I would argue it is. It's a massive priority.
I mean, in terms of what the club are doing, who they're looking to bring in.
Well, I would seriously hope that the club are prioritising the defence. I think you spoke to Scott this morning in the Morning Rabble. He was saying, the defence. I've said for long enough the back 5 is the first port of call for us. We've got to get a goalkeeper. We've got to get centre halves who will function weekly and get a good relationship, and then we've got to sort out the fullback situation because we've all seen the sort of woes that we've had at fullback last season, and I'm afraid that is for me the back 5 is the first port of call.
I agree.
You have to sort.
In my opinion, I agree.
It's because that if you look at last season, for example, goal scoring wasn't really the biggest problem. The biggest problem was we couldn't keep a clean sheet. So I'm afraid that is where we start. We start this summer looking at defenders and goalkeepers.
How many defenders have we been linked with, Bryan?
None that I've seen.
How many strikers have we been linked with?
1 million.
How many attacking midfielders we've been linked with? Quite a few.
Hundreds of loads.
So we've not been linked. As far as I can see, and I might be wrong, right? We have not been linked with a single defender.
I know. That is worrying, isn't it? Because that, for me, that is the goalkeeper and the defence is the way. That's where we need to start. I mean, goodness, we might be barking up the complete wrong tree. They might be looking at defenders. They might have a few up their sleeves straight away. We've just got to wait and see. Connor Cody. Yes, Connor Cody. So maybe there is other defenders and goalkeepers, in the pipeline. We just don't know. I don't think we're going to hear much from the club as far as rumours or we're not going to get told an awful lot. So we're it's going to be ridiculous rumours and I know the guy inside Ibrox and he's heard this.
Nothing's coming out. Nothing's coming out of Rangers anymore.
No, the shutters are well and truly down until they build up relationships with people they trust.
Or they want stuff to come out.
Correct.
So like the Russell Martin stuff the other night, obviously that broke with me and David on the show. David had the information, but because he was too busy talking to me, he missed it. So so yeah, if Rangers want stuff to come out, then they know where to go and they know who to give it to. But I think the days, maybe I'm wrong. I think the days of messaging Rangers and asking, "Is this true? Is this true? Is this true?" I don't think they're going to be about anymore with the new owners, which is probably the way it should be. To be brutally honest with you. Okay, doke, folks. I think that's us, Brian.
Quick one on yesterday. The club released a video on the David Holmes. I thought it was absolutely tremendous. I think he's an unsung hero of Rangers history. A guy
one of the most important men in our history.
Absolutely, he had a vision and he stuck to his plan. And by God, did he carry it out? He never spoken to Graham Souness before. Went to sign him, and then offered him the player manager job, and the rest is history. But my word, that guy. If there's people, speaking about statues and stuff, David Holmes should have a statue at Ibrox because what he did for the club is unbelievable. Single-handedly, he was the driving force behind that revolution that happened in the mid-'80s, and tremendous video. If you've not seen it, folks, click on it. It's a brilliant watch. David Holmes, I'll forever be grateful for that man because he gave me one of the best days of my life being at Pittodrie when we won the league in '87, first ever game, and that man was single-handedly responsible for it. So thank you very much, David Holmes.
And I agree with Martin, although it's spelt wrong, right? I agree with Martin. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. He really doesn't.
No, he doesn't. It's almost a case of everybody thinks that Souness just sort of sauntered in and, did everything. But Holmes, he was, as he says, I don't want to give too much away because it's in the video, but, he explains how he went about it and, how things happened. And yeah, I was even more gobsmacked after watching it because, he explains it in his own words. It's not somebody else telling the story, and I think when you're hearing it from the horse's mouth, I think it's a much better story. So yeah, it's a great watch. Get on it, folks, and well done, Rangers, for doing that.
And just finally, Martin, that's the best spelling. That's the surname spelling you've got, right? TYN is the surname spelling. TIN is the proper spelling. Right? Although I don't like my name, I've never liked it, right? Because it's so easy to tell when somebody's angry with you. Nobody's ever pronounced the T in my name. It's Martin, right? It's just Martin. The T doesn't get pronounced. See when somebody's angry, Martin, and they pronounce the T.
It's full name when somebody's angry at you.
And I don't want to tell you my full name because it was on for about a year. Right, folks, listen, we are back tonight for members. Hamish is bringing the WWE 2K25 members versus podders forward a day because it is his birthday tomorrow. So he's having tomorrow off. I've allowed him tomorrow off because I'm just that kind of guy. I'm nice that way. So tonight, live, I believe it's 8:30 for all channel members. The WWE 2K25 podders versus members. So I'm looking forward to that. Brian, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And look forward to the Rabble Wrestling tonight.
Yes, you can watch it at work.
Yeah.
Hold on. We've got a super chat in for Beep Bop Boop. Thank you very much for the support, Beep. Any thoughts on Nazy's 4 Lads interview yesterday? Haven't watched it.
Haven't watched it, no. Haven't seen it.
Nothing against Stevie or 4 Lads, by the way. I've just got no interest in watching anything to do with Stephen Naismith.
And even more so now that the review have said that he's not coming back either, so that's fine.
Yeah.
All that's done and dusted.
Yeah, I've got no interest in watching Stephen Naismith. Absolutely none. I know, and thank you very much, Beep, for the support, my friend. I know I'm late, but get it up, you Martin. That's awfully nice for Charles, isn't it? That's awfully nice for the man.
That was quite mild, wasn't it?
That was quite mild. Right, folks, go and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for all the support, by the way. Crazy. Like I say, we're just over 200 away from 14,000 subscribers, and we just went right back up to 340 members as of yesterday. So thank you so much for continuing to support the show. It really, really does mean a lot. We are full time, so every little helps. Every bit of support helps. Whether it's just a simple like, a subscribe, joining as a member, putting in a super chat, just spreading the word is also massive. And I will also say, I will end on this. I promise I'm going to end on this. we are looking for people to join the show because we are forever expanding. We've got loads of members content. We want to bring more, and we want people who have maybe never done this before but quite fancy giving it a go. People that have maybe done it before but stopped doing it for a while that want to get back into it. Email rangersrabble@gmail.com. If you are interested, we'll get back to you. We'll sort out a wee chat, and we'll get things sorted to possibly get you on the show. You never know. So thank you, folks. Go and enjoy the rest of your day. Like I say, I love each and every single one of you. Brian's all right as well. And we'll speak very, very soon.